The City of Fayetteville recently underwent the Americans with Disabilities Act self-evaluation. Improvements to buildings and public areas have made our city more accessible for everyone. Ron McElrath, Director of Human Relations, shares with us the results of the evaluation and improvements already made in our city.
The Americans with Disabilities Act, or the ADA as which it's commonly called, is an act that prohibits discrimination against individuals that have any type of disability as a result of mental or physical impairments that affect one of their major life functions. And the purpose of the law is to make sure they have complete access to all government and facilities, going into businesses, having access to that, and also employment opportunities. The ADA has Title I, Title II, and Title III. And Title I basically deals with employment. Title II deals with access to government buildings and facilities, and Title III deals with public accommodations and public facilities, and some of that affects government as well. Every city and government in 1990, when the act was passed, was supposed to do a self-evaluation and transition plan. This city did one back in the 90s and had it completed at that time. But as you can see, the city has grown tremendously since that time. So the transition part is the part that we've been working on. We did a re-evaluation to make sure everything was where it needed to be. We even brought the governor's ADA coordinator in to work with our team. We have representatives from every department looking at each one of our facilities and the areas they work in to make sure they're fully accessible. And those areas where we found that there need to be some upgrades or changes, we've made the most of those changes. There's still much more to be done, but majority of our major buildings are very accessible and meet the guidelines. And but we also get involved with curb cuts, making sure there's adequate parking for the disabled. And we also, for example, when we have special events, our recreation department and the city staff work to make sure there's special parking for the disabled so they have access, like the Folk Festival, International Folk Festival, and other activities. So it's not just something that's permanent, but sometimes it's something that's temporary, and we have to be ready to do that and to make those accommodations. Well, we have several components. There's a component that deals with transit, which is handled by the FTA. And that, if you notice, we have a lot of new modern buses that are wheelchair accessible, and they go down to the curb where a person can just step right up on them and wheelchair right up on them. We have some very modern things being done. Our transfer station has been upgraded to be complete ADA accessible. You notice that the transit facilities and sanitation facilities, they are being remodeled completely so that they will be fully accessible for any of our disabled citizens. City Hall has already been doing that, but recently they did some additional upgrades. If you'll notice, we have signs now in Braille and raised letters so that when people come in, they will know how to find where what they're looking for and what is available. All of our bathrooms have been made accessible to meet the ADA guidelines because of the public being here. Our city council chambers here, like where we're standing now, for a person that's in a wheelchair now, if they go to the podium, they don't have to worry about it. They slide out. They have an area that slides out where they can pull the chair right up under, and we use a wireless mic so that individual have the same access as somebody who is able to stand and talk to the microphones. And there's a ADA advisory council that's countywide. It's here that meets on a regular basis, and we try to meet with them on a regular basis. We have somebody from the city staff there, and some of our council members even attend, because we want to hear from the public, make sure the city is being providing complete civic access to our citizens. If you'll notice on our websites, you can change the font on there to different sizes for people who have visual impairments. We even have language that can be changed there because we're finding that sometimes people have language barriers that affect their abilities to know about services and to obtain services and to access services. So it's important that we take that in consideration too. Well, I think you're going to find in many cases at some of our bus stops, we're looking to see how we can make sure that ground is hard when it rains. See, when it rains, it's hard for a wheelchair to maybe get to a bus stop or to maneuver through there. So we're looking for ways of doing that. Some of our bus stops have already been upgraded with sidewalks, and we've been able to leverage state, federal, and local monies to do that. And of course, we're looking for more opportunities to do that. We also are looking for, especially downtown, but any areas where people have to cross the street, to try to make sure we have the curb cuts so that persons in wheelchairs can get across the streets. Any type of facilities that we have public coming to, like our rec centers, we're making sure they're all accessible to them. If you notice the doors, there's a little button that you can hit, and the door will automatically open for persons who are disabled. We have a little pull to make sure that the pull is at the right poundage so that people can access the doors. And there may be some facilities that do not have elevators, but if we have a service there, our employees know they must bring the service downstairs to the person. We encourage people to call the city. We have, in some situations, been able to mitigate some circumstances. We had an apartment complex, for example, that did not have the right accommodations for a person who was in a wheelchair that needed to go get their mail. But we were able to work with them in getting those curb cuts put in, make the garbage cans accessible for a person in a wheelchair who need to put their trash out, rather than, because some of them are so high that they can't put it in there. So they were able to come up with a modification to the trash facility so the person could throw their trash in when they take it to the disposal. And so there are a lot of little things we do to help the normal citizen dealing with problems that relate to disability in the normal way as far as businesses are concerned. Officially, the Department of Justice is responsible for enforcing that part of the Title III, which deals with public accommodations and businesses and things, but we do assist sometimes, because sometimes we can save a lot of time. By the time the Justice Department get here, people are probably moved. And then the other thing that we do, anybody that has a problem with any of our city facilities, they contact us, we immediately work on that. We do have a time frame. We have a complaint process, or a grievance process that's available online, so a person can fill it out. If they can't get here, they can fill it out, and we will take that grievance and we will notify them, send them a notice, and let them know what we're doing to correct the problem. As far as employees of the city is concerned, they may need special accommodations. We've had persons here in wheelchairs who were disabled, and we've lowered the counter for them so that they could be able to see over the counter and serve as a receptionist. If a person had some other special needs, it is incumbent upon the city to try to accommodate them, unless it produces some kind of undue hardship on the city financially or otherwise. Those accommodations are usually made. Our city manager and the city council has demonstrated that they are very much wanting our city to be accessible to all of its citizens. They've shown great interest. The city manager made it clear he wants every department to be involved. He wants every service to be involved. He wants us to have a transition plan that's updated and in place, so that as we grow as a city and as we expand as a city, or as we provide services at a city, that we always take consideration all of its citizens with whatever special disabilities or special needs that they have, that we accommodate those as best we can.